Hey everyone, this week I'm going to be looking back at my top 10 images of 2021. So happy new year everyone, I hope you're having a great holiday period. Like I said, what I want to do this week is look back on 2021 and my top 10 shots from that year. But before I do that, I just want to quickly talk about some of the highlights and lowlights from this year. I think one of the highlights was definitely getting over to Germany. What with the pandemic, the last couple of years has been really difficult to travel. So I was really lucky to be able to get out there in the summer and visit Seche-Solferijn and Berg-Eltz. And I was really pleased with the videos I got there and the photos. So that was definitely a highlight. Perhaps a low light would be not getting some of the things done that I wanted to do. So at the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to do some street photography, which I did, so that was good. But I also wanted to do some astro and some portraits as well. And I didn't get either of those done, so that's definitely on the list for this year as well. But let's go through my top 10 photos now of 2021. Okay, so we'll start off with this one. And these are in no particular order. This one was one of my most recent shots. It was taken at Padley Gorge in the Peak District. And I'd gone there with Kieran Suddaby, fellow YouTuber. We'd had a pretty productive morning, got some great shots of the woodland and the waterfalls there. And I've got to say that this shot was pretty much inspired by one of Kieran's shots. He'd taken a shot just before in a different location, it was quite similar. And when I saw this pathway leading up between the trees there, I knew I wanted to get the shot. And I think that's why it works. You've got that leading line of the path going right up into the centre of the trees. You've got the really fantastic gnarly trees either side framing the shot, the fantastically mossy rocks. And it just creates this really amazing enchanted atmosphere. It's really indicative of the fantasy genre like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and that kind of thing. I was a little bit disappointed that this year I wasn't able to get any woodland shots with fog in them. Apart from maybe when I was in Germany and I got a misty evening shot in the woodland there, but I didn't get any mornings with fog. And that was mainly just because I wasn't able to get out on any days when there happened to be any. And on the days that I did try to go out and get some, I didn't get it. But that's how it goes. I'm still really happy with this shot and I think it came out really well. So this one was taken at Stanage Edge in the Peak District. And I'd gone out to get a sunset and did get some sunset shots later. But this one was actually taken in golden hour a little while before and probably came out better than the sunset shots. The light was just great, it was falling really well on the ferns there and the millstones in the foreground. And it was a fantastic clear evening. There was a little bit of cloud in the sky, just enough for interest. But the weather was great and the lighting and everything just came together for this shot. I was thinking about removing the people who were stood up on the rocks in the background, but in the end I decided that they added something to the image. And yeah, overall it just came out really well. I was really happy with that one. Here's another one in the Peak District, probably noticing a theme developing now. This was also at Padley Gorge, but taken on a different occasion. And I'd actually gone out a year before to get a similar shot, which I think was in my top 10 last year. But the previous year's shot was a really wide angle one. And this year I wanted to try and improve it. And one of the ways I tried to do that was by getting in a little bit tighter and not so wide. And I think that really did work. I like how the rocks frame the image on either side. And then you've got that yellow sapling that really stands out against the green background. And this year it wasn't quite as windy. So I was able to use a fast enough shutter speed just to freeze the motion in the leaves and make it a little bit sharper than it was last year. It is an image that's done quite well for me. A few of these I've entered into competitions at my local photography club, which is the Barnsley Photographic Society. And I think this one might have been a winning image, as well as the previous Padley Gorge one as well. So pretty chuffed with that, and yeah, overall very happy with the image. Another one in the Peak District. This was taken at Big Moor, not too far from Kerbar Edge. And I'd gone out to test out the D500. And I was so lucky because I saw the deer there. It was the middle of the rut, so there was always a chance. But you just never know with red deer. And I was so lucky to see them. And there was a little group of them quite far away. I had the Sigma 150-600mm with me, which really helped, but I was quite far away and just managed to spot them. There's a group of deer and the stag, and even though I was so far away, the stag clocked me straight away. It was staring right at me, but I really like that about the shot. I like how it's looking right down the camera lens, and I like how the tone of the deer is quite similar to the grasses in the background, but there's just enough tone and shadow on the deer with its antlers to stand out and really pop out against the background. So yeah, really lucky. It was a great morning. The image turned out really well technically, and very pleased with that one. So this is in Germany, Burg Eltz. It's a fantastic castle which is down in the west side of Germany, not too far from Cologne. And I'd gone there to get a sunrise shot. And unfortunately, I didn't get the sunrise. It was too cloudy. But what I did get was this fantastic atmosphere, really moody, dramatic sky, and some early morning mist surrounding the castle. And if anything, I think that's better than the sunrise, because it really added some atmosphere and drama to the shot and complemented how the castle looks. I could have cropped in tighter on the castle, but I wanted to include some of the surroundings with the forest there, just give a bit of context to the castle. And I like how the sky is quite dark. The bottom of the shot is quite dark, so having a darker sky helps to balance that, and it doesn't drift off into nothingness at the top. So it was a great location, really enjoyed that morning. The only downside is I wasn't able to fly my drone there for the video, but it was great to get the shots. Another one taken in Germany, this one is at Zescher Zollverein. So it was a mining and coking complex, which has since closed down, and it was due to be demolished at some point, but was saved and then became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you can go there now, it's a museum, and you can walk around the whole site. It's a huge complex, a huge place, and it's really interesting, fantastic architecture there. And that's what I was covering in this video. It was all about architecture. And I'd done a lot of shots around the outside of the complex, but this particular one was taken in one of the main buildings. And it's a huge cavernous building. When you're looking down from the top, I can't remember how many floors it is, but it's just a huge open space with all these stairwells inside that are lit up, which makes for a fantastic subject with a wide angle lens, getting some architecture shots. So I wasn't allowed to take my tripod in there, but I managed to balance my camera on one of the stairway banisters and took a long exposure. And I really like the composition and how this all works together, and the textures in the wall at the back and the lights, and just really worked together, I think. So it was another great location, really enjoyed my day there, and I really like how the shot came out. This one was taken in Sheffield when I was doing some street photography. Not really my usual genre of choice, but I really enjoyed getting the shots, even though it was a little bit different to what I usually do, and it was a little bit daunting approaching people and standing out from the crowd as I was taking my shots. And I got some good shots throughout the morning, but was about to wrap up and go home when I happened to see this guy just drinking his coffee and sat down over there. And he didn't see me at first. As I approached and lifted the camera up, he kind of saw me and kind of made eye contact with the camera. And I think that really made the shot, the way he's just looking at the camera and his overall style and how he looks, and he works well against the background. And it was just by chance really, but hopefully it was well spotted, and I was really pleased with how it came out. I think it was definitely the best shot of the day, and the reason why it's in my top 10 for the year as well. So this one was taken at Bempton Cliffs, an RSPB site, and I had so many bird shots that I wanted to include, but I needed to be strict and keep my list down to 10. I wanted to maybe put the kingfisher shot I got in February in here, and there were a few others that I thought about putting in, but in the end it was the puffin that won out. I'd never got a shot of a puffin before, and I just liked the way how it was peeking its head out from behind the corner of a cliff. It looked really kind of shy, and they've got a really comical look anyway, so they're great subjects to photograph. Technically it came out really well. Again, I was using the 150 to 600 millimeter, and that's captured all the details in the feathers and the eye really well. Just on a subject level and a technical level, really happy with that one. This one was taken in Wales, near Llyn Ogwen, I think, between the mountain ranges of Glyderau and Carnardy. And when I went there, it was after a period of really heavy flooding. It was not great weather. This is not really the shot I wanted to get when I first went. I wanted something with a bit clearer weather, really. But like so many of my shots, really, it turned out to be a more dramatic and atmospheric shot, having the weather conditions. And you have this, it's not a river, but because it's not normally there, but because there was so much rainfall coming down the mountain, it created this river, which kind of creates a leading line in from the side. Some people don't like when rivers and things leave the edge of an image. I don't mind it. I find it more of a leading line into the image, which brings you down to the lake, and then you've got the mountain in the background there with the mist over the top. And I thought it worked really well in the end. It's very dark and moody, but I think that reflects how Wales quite often looks. So I thought it was a good depiction in the end. And finally, we've got a macro shot, which is one of the most recent shots that I took. I went out with the Sigma 105mm, and it had been snowing, and I managed to get these shots of various things like leaves and berries, which were partially covered in the snow. And they came out so well because you can almost see the crystals and the individual snowflakes just perched on top of the berries there. And I had to stack this image. I took quite a lot of shots, but it came together quite well. And I really like how minimal it is. It's a very blurred out background, good bokeh, but it really pops out with those bright red berries, and there's a nice depth of field in the image, which makes it work really well, I think. And that's about it for this video, so thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I'm hoping to get out from next week again, get on location to some more exotic places. I'm hoping for a really good year. I have got a trip booked to Yosemite at some point this year, so if we've got no lockdowns, then hopefully I'll be able to make that and get a really good video there. And yeah, just generally, hopefully it'll be a really good year again. If you're not already subscribed and you'd like to do so, you can click down here on the big red button, or over here on my face, and that way you'll keep up to date with everything I'm doing each and every week. There's a new video every Sunday morning, 10 AM UK time. So I hope you'll catch me next week for the next one, and until then, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.